So now that you know how to use points or pieces of existing paths and join them together to create new ones, we can use that process to create a modern button graphic for our website homepage in our RGB document. So let's use your Command tilde or Control tilde shortcut to switch you over to your digital campaign document, assuming you still have that open. If not, just go ahead and open it from where you saved it earlier. And what we're going to do is come over onto the right hand side and just zoom in a little bit on our blank page here. This is going to be our home page. Remember, this is our artboard we created earlier on. Now, we do want to double check that we're working in pixels because, again, we're switching back and forth between different documents. So let's just pull up the rulers, right-click in there and say, yep, we are working pixels. Perfect. All right, let's turn off the rulers. So what we're going to do is create a default rectangle to start with and then use some very interesting techniques to add different corners to it. So one of them is going to be like a sliced off or snipped corner on the top left. Bottom right corner is going to be rounded. So we create a nice button graphic here which is different to a regular rectangle. So let's go over and choose our rectangle tool to start with. Make sure that we click somewhere on the page and bring up our dialog box and key in our size of 140 pixels wide by a height of 50. All right, go ahead and click OK. Go back to your main selection tool so you don't create any more shapes. Now we can zoom in on that because we can see our default style has been applied, so we want to change that. Let's make sure we have stroke up here set to none. Let's go to our fill. Once again, because we've switched to RGB, let's make sure we're using an RGB color palette, and we'll just change this to black so it's easy to see. Now the first thing we wanted to do, like I said, is to sort of slice off the top left-hand corner. I mean, something we could do with a Pathfinder if you like. We could just use another shape to cut off the corner here. Now we can use points for that. We're learning multiple processes here, so I'm actually going to show you both ways that I would actually achieve something like this if this was a live project. What I'm going to do is with the rectangle tool, going to click once again. Doesn't matter if we use the option key or not, we just need the dialog box. And I'm going to make this one a square. Let's go for 12 pixels square. All right. Then I'm going to go free transform, E key, shift and click on the outside and drag to the left or to the right. It doesn't matter, but we want to go to 45 degrees. Okay. Now we can go back to the main selection tool, select both items, click again on the second one so we make it a key object, and then we can align left and top. All right. Now if we go to outline mode, we can see how that's working. The shape's corners have obviously been aligned, and this is basically the path that we wish to cut. We wish to get rid of this, and we also wish to get rid of this. And like I say, we can do that with points. I'm going to show you how the Pathfinder could also be used as well. This is going to be an example. We will ultimately use points to do this. So what I'm going to do is drag and select both of those shapes and just option drag a copy up here so we can play around with it. Now remember, the Pathfinder requires two shapes to overlap or combine in some way. So if we wanted to use this one to take this corner and punch out this particular triangle here, this isn't going to work. Direct selection tool will help us out of this situation. This is a bizarre workaround, but this is how you discover things in Illustrator. This is what I would do. Go back to your direct selection tool, click on one of these corner points and simply drag it outside of the shape. Okay? Take the other one, do exactly the same, and what we've now done is basically swap the shape around. It's now on the outside of our object, but our original 45-degree line here is still exactly in the right position. Okay? If we now went back to our selection tool, selected both, came over to Pathfinder and said minus front, we've now got the perfect snipped off corner. Okay? Like I said, there's a method to my madness, but it definitely works when you need it. Alright, Pathfinder in this case, not what we're going to use, so delete that and come back to our original. Okay? We're going to do a couple of other processes here.